Welcome then to this next video from Driving Without Drama. I'm going to talk to you today about saving petrol. Fuel prices are getting ridiculous, or diesel. Fuel prices are getting ridiculous now, and most of you learners are probably in your teens. May not be earning a lot of money, and therefore petrol prices are important. So hopefully this will help you save some money. I'm going to give you 7 tips, not necessarily in the order of importance, but just for the sake of maybe there are, I suppose. First one is tyre pressures. In my car there are 3 different sets of pressures for your tyres. The first is called comfort, which is lower tyre pressure, which means there's more rubber on the road. The less air in the tyre, the more rubber on the road, therefore the more resistance to the road, therefore a little more petrol. I can't give you figures for that, but it seems to be logical. The next is called eco, which is all about saving carbon, burning carbon, but really it's going to save you money. That's the real economy. It's going to save you money because your tyres on the eco will be a little more inflated, the pressures are higher, so there's less rubber on the road, therefore there's less road resistance, therefore there's less effort for the car to get along, and you use a little bit less petrol. In my manual also there's a third figure for full load, which means the tyres are much heavier, higher pressures at the back, because the weight of the load in the back is going to press the car to the road, so you put extra pressure in. So look in your manual, find out what the pressures are from your manual. I would suggest you go with eco, which will just put it in the middle, as it were. You won't have so much rubber on the road, and you'll save some petrol. Also, the tyre tread is important. If you are going to use eco, you must make sure that your tyres are have a good tread on them. As you know, the minimum is 1.6 mil across the central 3/4 of the tyres and the full circumference. So make sure you've got good tread, and I would suggest eco. Check your manual and it'll tell you what the pressures are. It gives you 2 figures, one is called bar, the other is called pounds per square inch. I always go by pounds per square inch, and at the airline in the garage it will show you. You can pick one or the other. It can tell you bar or pounds per square inch. So I normally go with pounds per square inch, and in my car it's something like, I think it's 39 at the front, 39 at the back, or 39 at the front, 37 at the back, pounds per square inch for eco. So I'd recommend that. That's one way to save. Something else you can do as well is keep your windows shut. Because if your windows are open, the air is coming into the car as you move along, and the faster you go, the more drag there is in the back of the car from the air that's coming in. So if it's not too much of a hot day, keep your windows shut. That way you're not getting resistance from the air blowing into the car. Especially at higher speeds, if you're on a faster road, 50 and above, you want your windows shut if possible. It can be difficult in the summer if you haven't got aircon, but you'll save fuel. Thirdly, avoid driving with a roof rack if you can. Stuff on the roof again provides wind resistance. This is why I expect a lot of driving instructors don't have top boxes. The ones with lots of money can afford them, I suppose. But I never used to have a top box. I always just put L plates on the front of the back, so I did get more wind resistance, and that saves your fuel. Now I imagine most of you will not have a roof rack most of the time anyway, but just have that in mind. Another thing you can watch out for is not putting too much petrol in the car. If you were to put a gallon of petrol in a tank, a gallon tank, it's quite heavy. So the more petrol you put in, the more weight you're having to carry. I always used to put 10 pounds worth of petrol in. It depends how much money you want to spend really, but you can save money by not lugging around gallons of petrol that you don't need. Yes, you might say, well, it means going to the garage more times if I do that. That means that, but if you pass in the garage anyway, it's not going to cost you anything to nip in, get some petrol when your 10 pounds worth is run out, and put another 10 pounds worth in. So because of the weight of petrol, that's another way you can save money. Don't put too much in the car. Don't carry things around in the car that are not necessary. Keep the goods inside the car to a minimum, in the boot, in the back, whatever. Another great way to save petrol is by the correct use of your gears, your gas and your brake. Excessive acceleration will hurt you, burn extra petrol. I believe even excessive braking will burn extra petrol. Every gear change uses a little bit of petrol, so you want to keep your gear changes to a minimum. If you're reasonably confident, or if you're past, you might have a look at my video on advanced braking technique. What you want is as fluid a drive as possible. You're looking well ahead, anticipating early, so you're not braking late or accelerating late and so forth. So with smooth gear changes, smooth acceleration, smooth braking, you've got to use less petrol. If you're travelling on a motorway, the limit is 70, as you know, and there are some dual carriageways of 70 and 60 and 50. And the faster you're going, the more petrol you're going to burn, generally. So if you're doing 70 on the motorway, you'll burn more petrol than you would if you're doing 60. Now I've found that the optimum speed for me is about 63, 64. In the last course in which I measured it, I've always driven courses, the last one I measured it, and I'd save about 15% of petrol by keeping my speed 63, 64. Now again, it depends how quickly you want to get where you want to go, depends how concerned you are about the money, but if you get that optimum speed, it'll vary from car to car. In mine it's about 63, 64. The petrol saving can be quite considerable. Use a sat-nav. You don't want to make your journey any longer than is necessary. So use a sat-nav. That will give you the best route, the shortest route, the quickest route, whatever you want. Also think about the time that you take your journey. If you're going to go out in a week at 3:30, you're likely to get caught in the school rush. If you go out a bit later than that, say 4:30, you're going to get caught in everybody coming home from work. You're going to be sitting there with your engine idle. You're going to be burning petrol. So pick the time when you go out. The more you avoid traffic, the less petrol you're going to use. Okay, so that's 7 tips. Just quickly: tyre pressures. Don't open your windows unless you must. Don't have a roof rack. Don't carry too much petrol with you. Use your gears and your brakes as smoothly as possible. Minimise your gear changes. Again, the advanced video on that will tell you about the advanced braking technique. That covers, I think, gear changes as well. You can slow a little bit on the motorways. Obviously, you mustn't hold traffic up. If you're holding traffic up, you've got to spend a bit more money on petrol and go a bit quicker. You might have to do 70. So don't hold traffic up, but if you're happy to drive at 63, 64, or whatever the optimum is for your car, you'll save petrol. And finally, use your sat-nav to take the shortest route to wherever you want to go, and beware of the times that you travel. So that's it. I hope that's helpful. Hope you'll save some money, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.